Hello and welcome to another episode of the Family Lab. I hope the name of our program doesn't frighten you in any way, shape, or form. We're not here doing any sort of physical testing on your families or, inducing any sort of drugs. Nothing of the sort, nothing of the sort. What we're here to understand is family relational health. So guess what? Get your auntie, your cousin, your sister, your grandma, your brother, everybody. Get the whole family because this episode is not solely just about you. We want everybody in the house to understand what it is about. And to help us to understand it a bit more, I'm joined here by veteran in the family health family relational health international services. He has been dabbling in this for about 40 years. I'm joined by Dr. Anthony L. Gordon. Hello, Doc.
Thank you, Janelle. It's good to be with you again and
Yes,
with
it is
everybody.
definitely a pleasure.
Yes, in the lab.
In the lab. They're doing a little bit of research. I want you guys to stick around with us. So
Okay.
for today, we would have touched in a previous episode on the vital signs. We just touched it a little bit, but we didn't get
Yeah.
to go so in depth into it. So I want us to do that today for our viewers.
Okay.
So, vital signs of, knowing or understanding the family relational health. When we go to the medical doctor, as you would have said in the previous episode, when we go,
Correct.
the first thing that the nurse does would, at the triage station, she's checking for your vitals. So she's checking your blood pressure, temperature, the whole works, right?
Mhm.
So those four basic vital signs: your temperature, your respiration, blood pressure, and your pulse. But here at the family lab, because we're not at the medical lab, so we're not checking for those things. What are the things? What is it that we need to know?
The vital signs?
Yes. What are
Okay.
the vital signs that we need
All
to know?
right. So let's, shall we say, recap.
Yes, let's
We
read.
did establish, as you correctly said in the previous episode, that there are four, shall I say, parallel vital signs that
Can.
I developed in my family lab, and my family lab being my biological family lab and my practicing lab. Over these nearly 40 years, as you said, I've developed and I've found four vital signs, which we're going to work on. Vital signs of the state of the relationship that is in the mind. So maybe we should establish it a little firmer. So, all human relationships begin and continue to exist in the mind.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay, because it doesn't solely exist in the physical space.
No, relationships don't exist in the physical space at all.
It's here,
Relationships
it's all here.
exist in the mind
Okay.
and continue to live there. Now, the quality of the relationship as it exists in the mind influences the quality of the relationship that you share with those in your sphere of influence.
Okay.
So, as a relational health therapist, and all those who practice in this field, we ought to have vital signs, basic vital signs, that are able to give us an indication of the state of the relationship. So, here they are again. And we can spend a little more time in it now. So, vital sign number one is connection. Now,
Okay.
Jeanette, let's turn this into a lab.
No problem.
So, since we have been working together, we have established a working relationship, haven't we?
we have.
Correct. And truth is, I looked forward to seeing you.
And I looked forward to meeting
Fine.
you as
So you know
well.
what we just did. We reciprocated there.
Yes.
It means then that there's a connection. And if we were to measure that connection on a scale, an ordinal scale of 1 to 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
One being what?
the lowest
Okay.
and 10 being the highest,
Okay.
then we could get a cue, an idea how you feel about our connection. Now, let us establish that this is what we call in psychology psychometric.
Okay.
Psycho means the mind, metric comes from measure. So it's not absolute, it's indicative. So let's apply that. So in my mind, Janelle, I must let you know that you are way up there on my scale.
Jeez, and you're way up there on mine as well.
All right. Okay, so the connection between us is healthy. Now, following the connection, there is the rapport.
Okay.
And that now is talking about how we talk with
And not at.
or to each other. You notice what's happening?
Yes,
We
we're
have been
talking with.
reciprocating. I talk and the way I speak, it sets a pace for you to naturally
Right.
chirp in and share with me. So we are reciprocating. Rapport.
Rapport with that R roll.
Yes.
Rapport. Okay,
Yes.
okay.
Okay. So that's a second vital sign of a healthy relationship. And that, of course, is the mind.
Once again.
Right again, it's all about the mind. And then the third vital sign is bond. Now, I should say, from a psychologist's perspective, connection and rapport are really what we call the awareness aspect of the relationship. How much I recognize you, I acknowledge that you are who you are to me and me to you. And of course, by the way, everything we say here, those at home, those who are watching, are applying it to themselves in their family lab. So let's go to the third one again, bond. That's the affective domain. That's the emotional side. That's how you feel about me.
Okay.
In other words, you look forward to seeing me to have the next session. When to hear about me that, hey, I'm going to be having, you
Interview with
smiling.
Dr.
Yes, that's a display of emotion. And you know something? One challenge that I found in my lab work with families is that society has kind of an influence to stymie our emotion. And some of us are very proud to talk about, I am not an emotional person.
Right.
Oh, you're too emotional.
Or, I'm nonchalant.
Oh, yeah.
Right? That's one that we hear a lot these days.
And we tend to believe that that's a good sign that, nobody can get around me. Truth be told, when emotions are suppressed, when they're not given correct space in relationships will suffer. I need to feel safe and free to say, I love you. I appreciate the way you said. Or, can I tell you, General, I just didn't like the way you said it a while ago. And you should not react and say, what do you mean by that? Why didn't? You should respond by saying, oh, tell me.
Let me, be able to correct.
Right.
Or let me see what it is.
And be aware.
Let's address it,
Good.
yes.
And then the fourth vital sign of healthy relationship is support.
Okay.
Support. Now, again, in regular human interaction, when we say support, people tend to perceive it to mean give you something. Okay, fine. I'm supporting you.
Support the cause.
Yes, here it is. Take this. I've supported you. In relational health, we go beyond the material support. And there are two words that our family members would want to remember. Support means being there. Being there. And I would even push now to say being there 24/7. Oh,
some persons might hear that one and think, I can't be there 24/7. So
thank
what
you.
do you mean then?
Okay. Janine, so my friend, my brother, my sister, my cousin, my aunt, my uncle, my husband, my wife is in New York, is in Singapore, is in Jamaica. Can I be there with him or her? That's not the there we're talking about. Being there emotionally. When he or she calls you from wherever he or she calls you, what happened to you when you heard the call? Did it evoke support? I'm here for you. What's going on? Are you okay? So those are the four vital signs.
Okay.
And on the scale of 1 to 10, we give, in the lab, I've developed instruments to have my clients test and see. but we can go on. So those are the 4 vital signs.
All right, so going over them one more time. So that's connection.
Connection. And
Rapport.
maybe I should give you a signal for them. Let's go for it.
Yes.
So connection.
Okay, so connection.
Right.
And then what for rapport?
Rapport.
Rapport. Okay,
Yeah.
from the mouth
When
to the
I
ear.
hear what you say.
Okay, and then there's the bond.
Bond.
Okay, like a little hug and
That is
everything.
correct.
Right.
And support.
Ooh, I like that one. Support. So there's
The
connection,
connection,
rapport.
rapport,
Okay, and then there is the
bond,
bond and support. All right, listeners, I hope that you would have gotten that, so know your vital signs for
Very good.
relational health. All right. So we already spoke on how they can be measured as it pertains to the psychometric aspect of it, from a scale of 1 to 10.
Of course, I should say that they would need, while they can do this at home, they're provided with the instrument, but for the interpretation, they really do need a professional to interpret it and tell them what it means, what it indicates, and how they can work to improve the weak vital signs.
Right. Because as I believe I alluded to it in a previous episode, that, we might think that we know, everything about our families and how we relate with each other, but there is a lot more under the surface. There's a lot more under the surface.
Correct.
So I'll just ask this one. Are these vital signs applicable to every single member of the family? Because maybe someone out there is thinking that, I should just apply it to that sister that I'm having qualms with, or that auntie that I don't talk to anymore because she never sent down my barrel for me the other day before I come to school, right? So are they necessarily applicable to every single member of the family, and how can we share them with each other?
Absolutely, they are applicable. So it's not only for husband and wife or father and mother, every single family member. By the way, in my research, I've identified 66 different categories of families. 66,
Wow.
yes. And they're in my book.
And we're only used to like the nuclear and...
That is correct. And so the vital signs can be measured across all family combination. So we can check, for example, how healthy is the relationship between uncle and nephew, uncle and aunt, cousin and cousin. And at the workplace, we can also check the vital signs between colleagues, co-workers, boss, and subordinate, and all categories. So the vital signs are really intended for relationship anywhere.
Okay. So it's not restricted to...
No. That's why it
anything.
is family relational health, and we've already established that family is not restricted or only understood to be at home. That's the base. But wherever we are gathered and interacting and working together,
That
it's
is a family. Okay. So we are going to just repeat one more time the vital signs. So connection.
Yes.
Connection.
Let me see how well you got
rapport,
them.
Bond.
Yes.
And support.
Great.
Okay. So viewers, I hope that you would have enjoyed this episode and would have garnered something from it, so as to be able to practice it in your lives and apply it to your lives. So once again, we thank you so much, Dr. Gordon, for
It was
joining
a
us
pleasure
today in the
to
Family Lab.
bond with you and to connect with you and to
All right, and to rapport.
and we're here to support.
Yes. All right. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you again for tuning in to Family Relational Health Services International, where we practice treating relationships the healthy way. We hope you were blessed and inspired. Come again and listen in, and remember to like and let us have your comment.